Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. One of the things that's really punctuated the build-up between Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker is just how quiet, how friendly and how niggle-free it has been. Beyond an initial burst of coverage when the fight was sprung on fight fans in June, basically out of nowhere, the main talking points since then have largely centred on the undercard announcements, how well tickets have sold, etc., and questions from some about the pay-per-view legitimacy of this fight. And for the record, in the context of the current heavyweight division and the fact that we have two top heavyweights fighting each other in their primes, I do believe this is a pay-per-view worthy fight. Then again, I'm from New Zealand and we've been paying for Joseph Parker fights since, about fight 6 or 7. And beyond the usual array of training clips, it has been unusually quiet. And cue David Higgins, protagonist extraordinaire, Joseph Parker's promoter. He's been quoted as part of a Sky Sports story that focuses on Parker using David Haye's gym for his upcoming fight with Dillian Whyte. So on the arrangements in place for when Parker arrives in the UK, Higgins, he stated, same as usual, Park Plaza, the Riverbank Hotel, and as far as I know, he'll be using the same David Haye gym. David seems to be very good to us from our first fight up there. David's been very helpful. We're very grateful. David has been very accommodating. I'm sure that he and Joseph will discuss tactics and stuff like that. The use of the facilities has been invaluable. They are private, hidden and quiet, and near the hotel. And on Dillian Whyte, Higgins was quoted as saying, I think Dillian Whyte's permanently pissed off. He's a fiery sort of guy and it will be interesting to see how that goes in the ring. I'm sure Dillian does understand that Joe needs to use a gym. It's business and Haye understands that it's business. Everyone likes Joseph, he's a likeable guy. Haye and our team get on well. Before I get into two specific areas of discussion, one of which is David Higgins, I do believe he is going to ramp up the rhetoric ahead of this fight, and I think that's coming soon. But I wanted to direct you to the Sky Sports headline for the story that those quotes from Higgins come from. So David Haye will risk the wrath of Dillian Whyte as he is set to welcome Joseph Parker to his gym and may even be asked for tactical advice, says the Kiwis promoter. So that headline, it ties into what I was talking about earlier. The fact that there is so little going on in the Niggle department, or in general right now for this fight, it's led a thirsty media outlet to concoct a tasty headline in order to get some copy up on its website. When you actually dig into the story, there's not a lot there. But the wrath of Dillian Whyte angle which Sky Sports went for, it was clearly the strongest line that they could come up with. And no doubt now you've seen matching stories pop up on other websites, boxing related websites, and other videos on this exact topic somewhere else on YouTube. And some of those videos delve into whether Whyte should be pissed off with Haye and so on and so forth. My question for you though is, where were all the sensational headlines and videos when Haye helped Joseph Parker out in the lead up to his title defense against Hughie Fury in 2017, and then again for Anthony Joshua earlier in the year? In July 2017, I just want to direct you to this. Parker, in relation to Haye, he was quoted as saying, in the space of 5 minutes, he sort of covered everything down to security. So we're just thankful that he was sort of pointing us in the right direction and he's going to look after us when we come back. So that was after the fight with Fury was announced. Parker was in London and then he went to training camp in Las Vegas. So that was July 2017. Came back, trained at Haye's gym. And this very footage that's now running in the background, this is from when Parker conducted his final preparations in March to face Anthony Joshua at the end of that month, or the 1st of April if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I don't actually recall anyone kicking up a fuss then, or in the lead up to the Fury fight that was in September 2017. And if it didn't matter then, does it matter now? Not really. And as I've alluded to, it's become an issue because there's a lack of other issues for the media and YouTubers and social media in general to get into. At the best of times, Joseph Parker, not a great trash talker, and after he signed in January to fight Joshua, he admitted that he found it a very uncomfortable situation that he'd put himself in to say negative things about Joshua to get the media interested in that potential fight.
Some of the things that I said and some of the way that I acted, it wasn't really me, and I felt uncomfortable doing it. But now that the fight's locked in, we've pieced it out with each other.
Dillian Whyte, he's no mug either. He knows that Parker is unlikely to bite at any attempts to get into a trash-talking war with him. You could actually see from the face-off in June, and here's some of it in the background here, there is a healthy dose of respect from the respective fighters towards each other. It doesn't really appear there's much bad blood there. But that doesn't mean that there won't be some niggle and some trash before this thing is all said and done. And from the Parker side, David Higgins, he's going to be the one to spice things up. If he needs to say something controversial to grab some headlines, bring some further interest in the lead up to the fight, he will most definitely do that. Higgins has made no secret that he'll do what's needed to be done to get eyeballs on any Parker fight. We saw it with the fiery performance in one of the Fury Parker presses, where he was tossed out after he got into it with Peter Fury. And then he waged a phony war with Eddie Hearn about Anthony Joshua's so-called glass chin before that Parker-Joshua fight was signed. So his jibe that Dillian Whyte is permanently pissed off, it's a mild beginning, but I do see things winding up and Higgins winding through the gears and dropping something controversial to set all of us off. They are trying to sell a pay-per-view event after all. Any publicity is good publicity in this situation. And similarly, I'm expecting more from Whyte and his promoter Eddie Hearn the closer that we get to the fight. And Whyte, he's recently been quoted as saying, the referee did save Joseph Parker from being knocked out by Anthony Joshua, saying their styles really didn't gel. The referee didn't help the situation. But I believe the referee actually helped Joseph Parker out, because had he allowed them to fight on the inside, I reckon Joshua would have won by KO. I've got Joseph Parker to focus on. It's a big challenge, so I'm completely focusing on cutting him down and hacking him to pieces on the night. No, hacking him to bits on the night. I think it's safe to say that the hype machine in the trash, it's going to wind up before July the 28th. And in terms of David Higgins, I could see one area that he's already flagged as a potential issue is the refereeing situation. If they don't get the referee that they want, because they say they want a world-class referee, he's already said a couple of names, one of them being Tony Weeks. If they don't get someone that they like, we are going to hear from Higgins saying, look, we haven't had the rub of the green in the last couple of fights. We're unhappy with the situation. And that will get some more headlines. But we have to see what that announcement is. And I do expect Eddie Hearn, he will be sort of cropping up at some point as well, because he has said they want to do at least 400,000 buys in the UK for this fight. And Eddie Hearn in a recent interview stated the strong undercard is going to be a key to a good pay-per-view result.
When I announced the card, it was like, all right, I'll get it, it's a good card. Then we added Chisora Takam, and it was like, fuck me, fair play. This is the bollocks. So, I can't wait for that fight.
But whatever happens, something will happen. You can count on that. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.
Hard work, dedication. Lions in the camp. Lions in the camp. Lions in the camp. Lions. Parker's gonna get chased by the herd of lions.
I'll say this: if he holds my head down and I punch him in the balls, just say that I already told you guys I'm gonna punch him straight in the balls if he holds my head down.